Come one, come all to the Vedanta ball. Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Saha Viryam Karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now, so that's why the Jnani has enemies, so to speak. The Jnani does not make enemies, but they come because of transference, this issue of transference, and also because of some jealousies that just being a flashlight invokes. And so with regard to such entities, whether one is friendly or whether one is inimical, the Jnani is always what? Having equanimity in relating to them. Equanimity does not equal to codependence. Like sometimes what happens is that when you find that you like someone but they don't like you, people go out of their way to make that person feel comfortable and solicit approval. This is a dysfunctional relationship. That person is running away from you, you are running behind them and trying to make them like you. And then what, And then sometimes what happens is, like for people, it's a conquest. It's like the cat. The cat bats at the mouse until it stops moving and then it loses interest. Who's going to eat that thing when I have a nice can sitting at home? That thing looks disgusting. That's not food. I mean, the modern cats don't eat. The killing instinct is there. Once they kill, it stops moving. It's not entertaining anymore because it's not trying to run away. So too, unfortunately, in the realm of human relationships, it's a conquest. You conquer them and then now they love you and adore you and you lose interest. On to the next person who is difficult to conquer. This is the realm of dysfunctional connections in life. But for the Jnani, there is no need to conquer and solicit somebody's love because the Jnani is all loving. It's all love. All you have is love and all you are is loving, and that Swarupa is you, and so therefore there is no need to solicit anything or gain anything because you don't lack anything. You don't lack anything that you want to gain, and so you are sama to both those entities who are friendly towards you or inimical towards you. So you don't try to go out of your way to try to make the inimical people comfortable. And you don't try to go out of the way to want yourself to be liked and loved by the people who are already predisposed to liking you. So it's not a conquest. And so therefore, there is a certain, and it's going to say later, samaha sangha vivarjitaha, and that we have to bring in right now as well. It's pertinent. Sangha is a dysfunctional connection. Vivarjitaha, free of dysfunctional connections. Nothing to like, nothing to dislike, and unmoved by entities and people that like the person, and unmoved by those who like me or don't like me. It doesn't matter. I'm not bothered because there are certain people who don't love me. That's always there. There will always be. And especially if one is in a position of being a leader. A leader means you will be subject to attacks. That's how it is. Oh, but that's terrible. Don't take on a leadership role. Sometimes you don't have an option. And so, the more people you are in a position to influence, the more people will attack you, because there will always be a group that doesn't like what you're saying, what you're doing, who you are. And if you succumb to those dislikes and then you start retaliating, then that's not a jnani lakshana. You have to press the override button. You have to have a thick skin and press the override button, and you can only do that when you have a good, opinion, a strong opinion about yourself. That's when you can do that. When you're secure in yourself, you can do that. You can't do that if you're insecure. And so that insecurity is gone through the study of this knowledge, and therefore what? Therefore it is wonderful to see that the jnani is unmoved by enmity or friendliness. Tatha, in the same manner, mana and apamana. Mana apamanau, with regard to mana apamana yoho. Mana apamanau, so mana and apamana, both of them. What mana means? Honor. Oh, come, Swamiji, sit on this pedestal, have some nice things to eat. Here you go, here is a gift for you. Wonderful, very nice. Swami elated. And then what happens next day? You are an idiot. I was fine without studying Vedanta. You have given up on me. You didn't do this to me. You didn't do that to me. Swami dejected. No, we've already seen that. Na hrishyati, na dveshti. And why? Because, same samaha. There is a sameness with regard to what? One's own responses towards honor and lack of honor. What is lack of honor? Disgrace. With regard to disgrace, if somebody says you are an idiot, you should have never been born, I don't know why you're alive, the jnani doesn't crawl into a hole and say, oh, what's wrong? Bad things are happening to me. No. And if someone says you are the greatest and the best, it's like Bhagavan. You can praise Bhagavan with 1008 names, Vishnu Sahasranama. Vishnu does not get elated. And then one day you got up late, you could not chant the Vishnu Sahasranama. Vishnu is not dejected. And Lakshmi wiping away the tears. Oh, this bhakta was very good. Every day he was chanting Sahasranama. Today the idiot woke up late and didn't chant. Now I am not even feeling like having breakfast because he or she did not chant. And Lakshmi says, you know how irrational they are. You know how flighty these people are. Don't depend on bhaktas. How many times I have told you? Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. That's why you can have 1008 names. You can have Laksharchana, 100,008 names. 8 is, just so that, you have fallen asleep for some of that time. So it's like, you don't stop at 100. You do a few extra. Why 8? Because you ate some names. Yeah. In the process of chanting them, you ate them up. So you can have 100,008 names. You can have 1,000,008 names. It doesn't matter. Because that which is limitless, you cannot praise you can praise the limitless limitlessly. And it really does not, that which is infinite. If you tell infinity, oh, you are the most infinite thing there is, there's nothing to be elated. It's a fact. And if you tell infinity, I hate you, it's not going to say, oh, I think I need to have an add-on. No, you can't add. Infinity is that which does not require add-ons. Which cannot have add-ons. Infinity plus 1 is still infinity. Infinity minus 100 is still infinity. So there's that from which you cannot that from which you cannot take away anything. That to which you cannot add is that fullness. And so, whether there is honor or disgrace doesn't matter. The person just blesses everything and goes. Tatha manapamana yoho. And then now we come from the mental attitude to the physical, difficulties. Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha. Shita, cold. Ushna, what's opposite of cold? Hot. Sukha, happiness. Dukkha, sorrow. We've already seen that, but this is a particular common compound. Shitoshna Sukha Dukkheshu. Samaha. Same. What does the rest of the world do? Talk about the weather incessantly. Oh, freezing rain, freezing rain, freezing rain, freezing rain. Before it comes, no, nothing will happen. No, it will happen. It's been forecast. Don't worry. If it happens, we'll deal with it. No. It's all just going to be terrible. Ice, 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 not nice. Bhagavan is, frustrated, because then Bhagavan sends a little heat wave because the person is complaining so much. So hot, so hot, so hot. Okay, here is a cold wave from the Arctic. No, so cold, so cold, so cold. One is complaining about the weather all the time. All the time. In places like India, there's only 3 seasons. Hot, hotter, hottest. That's all. In between, some rain will be there, So you can't complain about the weather because it's not going to change. It is how it is. It is what it is because it can't be what it is not. And so Shita, Ushna, these Shita, Ushna is a upalakshana, is a metaphor for all kinds of alternating, situations. Inimical and friendly situations, weather-wise and physically, whatever gives comfort, whatever gives sorrow, discomfort, all that is just taken in stride. Sukha, dukkha. Sometimes things go well. Sometimes the day starts with one small ache which becomes many small aches, and then which all conspires together to become one big ache at the end of the day. You just take it in stride. You don't manipulate the situation to make it conducive to yourself. So that means that Jnani should not touch the thermostat ever. Right? Wrong. So we are talking of things that are unalterable. Yeah. If you can alter, no problem. What is unalterable is transformed at the altar of surrender. That's where the bhakti comes. That's why it's called altar, because it alters you. It alters you, which finds the situation intolerable. And when you are altered, then that altar has, come through. And then, Shitoshna Sukha Dukkheshu Samaha. Why? Sangha Vivarjitaha. Sangha means involvement. Too much, you have a finger in everyone's pie and, you just have everything. Some people like to control the world that way. What are you doing? No, that's not right. You should do something else. And if you don't do that, then I'm dejected because you didn't follow my advice. And, this kind of very difficult. Let people be. Allow people to be. When you're inordinately involved in situations, things, people, that means that there is a big hole here that's not being patched up. That's what it is. When you get overly interested in somebody else's life and somebody else's situation, they have their own karmic trajectory. Even if they are your own grown children, growing different, they need some help. If they're already grown, let them be. It's like that man came, 80 years old, Washington DC, and he says, please make my son listen to me. And I said, how old is your son? 59, 60-year-old son. In fact, even his grandson is married, okay? Grandson itself is an adult. And this old man, my son doesn't listen to me. He was little, taken aback, but that's why I wanted to make sure that the son was not 10-year-old, 60. And he was standing right outside the room where this man was talking. And the son knew exactly what the father was saying, so he was laughing and shaking his head. This is what it is. And this old couple, 80 and 75, coming to me and saying, oh, we were married when we were so young, and then we had our children when we were so young, and now this man is 60 and he never listened to us and he's not listening to us. And the wife chimed in, even the daughter-in-law doesn't listen. Yeah. It's like putting the salt on the wound. Yeah. Son doesn't listen, you can have an explanation. Oh, you can be kind of indulgent and little forgiving. Daughter-in-law doesn't listen. Oh no. Won't have it. So these are all ways, where that Sangha is there. Sangha means inordinately focused, inordinately and intricately involved in other people's lives, those who are completely able to lead their own lives. No, but they'll make mistakes. Let them make mistakes. That's how they learn. Allow them to make the mistakes. How much can you prevent? And so, Sangha Vivarjitaha, one who kind of is able to observe, doesn't mean that, someone is falling in a ditch, you don't point out, here is a ditch. That's okay. But you don't feel ditched if they continue to fall into the ditch. You don't take it personally. You can point out, you can just make, arrangements so that they don't fall into the ditch. You say, okay, here it is. Here I'm sending a helper because obviously you can't see, but they don't take the arm of the helper and they fall into the ditch. It's nothing to do with you. You allow things to be. 13th chapter calls the jnani as upadrashta. Just keep seeing things as they unfold. Anumanta, the great permitter. Anumanta. Allow things to happen because you have Shraddha. This is where the bhakti comes in. Your bhakti, your, unswerving devotion to Bhagavan is so great that nothing wrong can happen. And whatever is happening is supposed to happen, so you allow the world to unfold as it may. Doesn't mean that you don't do anything. You can do whatever you think is important and is helpful. But you are avoiding being connected to the outcome. That is what is Samaha, Sangha Vivarjitaha. That connection is not there. Shitoshna Sukha Dukkheshu Samaha. Sukha Dukkha we have studied in detail, so I'm just going to glide over that. Sangha Vivarjitaha. And then Tulya Ninda Stutihi. Stutihi, praise, Ninda, opposite of praise, censure, Tulyaha. Same. It's a continuation of what was said before. Mana and apamana yoho tulyaha, and tulya ninda stutihi mauni. And somewhere else also it comes. Mana apamana yos tulyaha. Tulya mitrari pakshayoho. Somewhere else it comes. Mitra, ari, friend, foe, and mana and apamana. And then here is, stuti and ninda. Ninda, censure, criticism. Oh, we have such a thin skin when it comes to criticism. Everybody should say, you are Indra, Chandra, Devendra, you are the god of all gods, you are wonderful. Somebody says, oh, but you didn't do this properly. No, that's terribly dejecting. Nobody should tell me anything. How are you going to grow if nobody tells you anything? Nobody should tell me anything. And that's why the Saint Kabir said, Nindaka niyare rakhi, means near, literally. So keep people who are critical of you very close to you. Be next to them, be with them. Why? So that you can grow. Even if it means to grow out of their debilitating worldview about you, that is a very big growth. You become immune. Rather than complain that they are critical, you thank them for being an agent of your growth. You grow out of the insecurity, Otherwise, what do? We want to put miles between us and the people who censure. Starting with parents. Yeah. Those parents are, what's that? They are model. Sometimes parents are a model of criticism. They know how to push the right buttons. Poor things. They are just expressing the difficulties in their own lives. They're not trying to target you, but you feel targeted because of some past history. So, what is the thing to do? Get away from that circle. Yes, you get away from there, but can you get rid of your inner critic? No, the inner critic has gone with you. It's not with them or with whoever else is criticizing you. The inner critic has packed its bag and its binoculars, because it finds faults with everything. And its magnifying glass like a detective. It has come with you. So anywhere you go, that critic, the inner cop, is blowing the whistle. It's a whistleblower. You think you are great? No, you're a sham. I don't know how you've not been found out. Once they know, you're going to be just dismissed. And then one becomes a lightning rod for criticism. Yeah. Because you keep rehearsing that same pattern from before. And then little stuti, in between you find some, bakra, goat, who praises. Oh, when shall we get married? Because finally you have found somebody who praises. And then what? And then you just become dependent on little scraps of praise all the time. And then get dependent on, sometimes people are dependent on critique also, unfortunately. And so one is a mess, I don't know how else to put it. So one is a big mess because one is constantly trying to avoid criticism and, reproduce praise. How is that even possible? It's not a viable lifestyle. So therefore, what to do? Become a jnani immediately. Tulya ninda stutihi. Yeah. Stutihi and ninda are tulya. You're not unshaken by censure or praise. You take both in its stride. And then mauni. Mauni means the silent one. That's best, don't talk back, simple. But that's not the idea here. Mauni means of one with vak tapas, disciplined speech. That's very, very important for a jnani, because you can utter anything and it becomes either a blessing or a curse. And you find this in the sages of yore, the sages of olden days. What they would say things and then it would become, they would say things in anger. There were some sages who had difficulty managing their anger. Vishwamitra, Durvasa. Durvasa literally means difficult to be around. Yeah. Jamadagni. Jamadagni means the fiery one. Yeah. So, they would just get very angry. Still, that doesn't mean they were not sages. It was, they had their foibles. They were fallible. And from their fallibility, we understand that even when speech itself becomes a curse for the hapless ones, you can imagine. And this is what the whole thing is. Now, Durvasa once went to Vishnu. Durvasa had he was a very exalted soul. Sage Durvasa had a had a third eye, except it was on the sole of his foot. It was not where the third eye is supposed to be. I don't know how he walked. You can say he walked with his eye closed. But that was a magical eye which nobody knew he had, with which he could foresee all the events. And he hated Lord Vishnu because he was angry at him for some reason. I forget the story in the Puranas, why he was angry. So he went to Vaikuntha. He could easily go to the abode of Lord Vishnu, and he kicked Vishnu in the chest. He has the dubious distinction of being the only person to have kicked Vishnu in the chest. And comes Lakshmi, to the goddess Lakshmi, the consort of Vishnu, his Shakti basically, to the rescue. And goddess Lakshmi has a very interesting, goddess Lakshmi should have been irate that some idiot is coming and kicking her husband in the chest. The goddess Lakshmi was all compassion. She said, oh, let me have that poor foot that hit Lord Vishnu's chest. Lord Vishnu's chest was like hitting against granite, or better still a diamond, And so he went, his foot was just paralyzed because he struck Lord Vishnu in the chest. And she said, let me have that poor foot and massage the foot, that has, hit. She should have said, let me cut off that foot. She would have been so angry. But that's why she's goddess Lakshmi, very clever, very smart. So in the pretext of massaging the foot, she snuffed that third eye out. Because he was no longer, because the consequences of hitting, that which is all-knowing, which is oneself, because he really, in hitting Lord Vishnu, he hit his own Swarupa. And the loss of that is the inability to see. That is the loss, that is the immediate, consequence. So that gift of seeing the future was snuffed out by goddess Lakshmi. She said, and then because he was so ego-based, he gave the foot to goddess Lakshmi. You don't show the foot to goddess Lakshmi. That means, you're inviting Alakshmi, her twin sister, who's the opposite of what she is. If she is abundance, prosperity, and health and wealth, what is Alakshmi? Opposite of that, sickness, disease, death. So she massaged the all-knowingness out of him. That's how it is. So even these sages, they had the ability to say things because they were very evolved. Whatever they said, unfortunately, would come true. Off with your head. Suddenly the head would be on the ground. So therefore, the stakes are very high as one grows in this knowledge to, how to say things, how not to say things, when to say things, when not to say things. And we can learn a lot from Pujya Swamiji. And those of us who knew him, I spent a lot of time with him, and I could see that sometimes he would take a long time to talk back. And I would think, okay, he doesn't have anything to say. He had things to say, but he was formulating them in a way that the person could actually hear. And what never to say, what to say sometimes, what to say in public, what to say in private. All this was so studied with him. It was just amazing. Everything was just he was like a masterpiece of Vak Tapas. It was amazing. And he didn't come that way. He made himself that way. And that is the inspiration for us. To know how to not curb, but regulate the words. How the words should be spoken. Soft words, soft speech, pleasing speech. And if something displeasing has to be said, take maunam. Be silent in that moment. Maybe later on when you have a little space, you can say it in a way that's not hurtful. Instead of saying, you're an idiot, you always do this. You keep quiet at that time. And later on you can say, well, when I have some difficulties. You put it in I statements. It's much easier for the other person to hear. I have difficulty. And I'm having difficulty when I'm confronted with certain speech or behavior. Then it's easier for the other person to say, oh, okay, this is not about me, this is about you. Yes, it's about me. Make it about yourself, it's easier. Or I don't care for this, or I'm having difficulty. And you can always preface whatever you're saying by, I may be wrong, but this is what I think. When you do that, then you make the person disarm. They put down their cudgels. Otherwise they rush at you with whatever they have. And then you rush back. You throw the things they threw at you, and plus a few more from your own arsenal you throw. Just to be on the safe side. Tulya ninda stutihi mauni. Mauni means generally quiet, and when you have some things to say, you say it in a way that is inspirational, and people recognize the truth of it. You say it in a way that doesn't cause people to become defensive all the time. Mauni santushtaha. Why are you able to do that? Because you are so secure that you are santushta. Tushta, happy. Not to be confused with dushta. Dushta means corrupt, bad. Tushta, happy. Yena kena chita, happy with whatever presents itself. A certain cheerfulness which is not dependent on the external situations. We've seen this in great detail. Happy with whatever. Yadrishta labha santushtaha dvandvatito vimatsaraha. We have, we'll encounter this elsewhere in the Bhagavad Gita. Yadrichha labha santushtaha. Whatever comes is a gift from Bhagavan, and I take it with that attitude of prasada. Santushto yena kenachit, having prasada buddhi. Prasada means glad acceptance of whatever comes. Oh, that's here? Wonderful. That's not here? Okay, no problem. And santushto yena kenachit. Aniketaha. Aniketaha means homeless. Oh, Ani is a homeless person? No. Meaning, there is no one place that one calls home. No country one calls home. No house one calls, this is alone my home. No city one calls home. This is my place. I happen to be living here. That's a very healthy attitude with regard to one's own home. Aniketaha dridamatihi sthiramatihi. Sthiramati means unwavering knowledge. One whose mind is not, the knowledge is not a convenient guest that comes and goes. No, it's there. It's abiding. Sthiramatihi. Mati is, is wedded to the knowledge from which it doesn't depart. No, that's not the book. This book. Okay. Yeah, Aniketaha Dhridamatihi Sthiramatihi, whose abidance in the knowledge is unswerving, firm abidance in the knowledge. Bhaktiman again, Sapriyaha, Samepriyaha, Priyo Naraha. So, one who is satisfied with whatever you can get, and there is no ownership. There is no possession. One is not possessed by things. In fact, you call certain things possessions because they have the capacity to possess you. Make you a madman or a madwoman. That's what it is. One is possessed by the possessions. Here, the jnani can own a home. The jnani can own so many things, a car, a home, whatever it is. But there is no sense of possession. That's why we don't have the vow of poverty. We don't have that. Obedience, all these things we don't have. One vow, only one. What is that? Abhaya. Abhaya means the gift of non-fear to everything, humans and non-humans around. From this day forward, the sannyasi says, you don't have to be afraid of me. So there's no competition. You drop out. You declare yourself as a dropout, so that nobody is there that needs to be afraid of you, intimidated by you. So you gift non-fearfulness. You gift that to everyone and everything. From the smallest insect to Indra in heaven, who's always worried that somebody's going to take my place. You drop out. And so, that's the only thing. It's you don't say, I'll not own this, no, not own that. These are all very difficult situations, when you have those specific kind of vows. One time I was in New York. We had a conference in 2 different locations. And unfortunately, it was the same weekend where this Apple, not this Apple, I'm not talking of this, I'm talking of, what is that? The phone company, computer company. This Apple company was releasing a new version of some phone, iPhone. And that has the ability, I learnt only later, to stop all traffic, because everybody is rushing to get the first 100 or whatever they have in the shop. They can order. They could have sat at home and pre-ordered it. It would have come in 2-3 weeks. No, 2-3 weeks. No, I have to have the first one right now. Big mistake. Because by the time you get there, it will be gone, right? Because your karma is like that. The last one will be sold 2 minutes before you got there. Or right in front of you, somebody will be walking away with the last one. But that doesn't stop the people. So then we had to go from one end of town to another in Manhattan, and the buses never came. There were supposed to be buses. There was about 25 people who had to be transported from one place to another. And then they said, okay, the organizer said, then the organizer was told, send them in cabs, because the New York cabs are notorious for finding shortcuts, and they'll get you anywhere. From anywhere to anywhere they can get you. So put 25 people in 6 cabs and send them in cabs. So he said, okay, no problem. And then the other people, who, from the Christian tradition, the ordained people, they had a lot of trouble. Oh, I can't handle money. Some Buddhist monks also said, I can't handle money, vow of poverty. I said, give me all the money. Give me all the money. I will pay not only the cab that I'm in, I'll pay all the other cabs also. Yeah, so I took all the money. Yeah. This is foolish. We have to be pragmatic. And there are stories, to test Ramakrishna. The student put some money under his mattress and was closely watching the Swami when he woke up. Does he have bags under his eyes? Is he having red eyes? Did he sleep well or did he not sleep well? All these things he was wondering. And he was very happy, the story goes, to hear the Swami say that he had spent a restless night. How was your night, Swamiji? Well, I didn't sleep too well. The student was happy and his faith was affirmed that he is allergic to gold. We're not talking of allergy to gold, because he put some gold coins under the bed. And the Swami just slept on 2-3 sheets. A small thin quilt. Of course, if there are gold coins, anybody will be uncomfortable. You're not talking for princess and pea situation here. Crazy. What the Bhagavad Gita says is the human being of this vision, samaloštashma kanchanaha. That sama is there, that samatvam is there. Loshta with regard to a clod of earth. Ashma, lead. Kanchana, gold, same thing. The lead is not lowly, gold is not high, it's all the same. It's not that you hate gold. If you have an allergy towards gold, that means you have a problem. You have a psychological problem. So that's what the whole thing. Aniketaha dhridamatihi, sthiramatihi. Bhaktiman me priyo naraha. And then the last verse is concluding what meant up till now. We'll look at that. Ye tu, however, whereas dharmyamritam idam, dharmya and amritam idam, yathoktam, those who follow yathoktam, follow the life, paryupasate, paryupasate means not worship, but here follow the life. What kind of a life? Yatha uktam, as it was told before. Before means all in keeping with what all the teaching has been given. In keeping with the teaching, the one who is able to follow the lives with Shraddha, endowed with Shraddha, worshipful, reverential attitude towards Bhagavan and the Shastra, Mat Paramaha. Mat Paramaha means for whom I am the final goal. I am their end. For whom I am their end. Mat Paramaha. Bhaktaha te ativa. Ativa means inordinately beloved to me. Meaning, I am nothing but their own Swarupa. Of what? The ones who are in touch with this lifestyle. So this is not just talking about jnanis, but who? Jnani wannabes. People who want to be jnanis, who are in keeping with this lifestyle, that is dharmya. Dharmad anapetam. Dharmyam. Dharmyam means not opposed to dharma, meaning in keeping with dharma, in keeping with what is correct, what is right for me, what is appropriate, what is inappropriate, all that matters, and I follow that. Then that dharmya lifestyle leads to amrita, leads to the understanding that one is immortal. How? Because that knowledge of immortality, despite having been endowed with a body, mind, sense complex that is mortal, what is, sitting in the complex, so to speak, what is the indweller of this complex is I. The I is taken away from identifying with that complex, which gives rise to complexes, and is made to identify with that which is sitting in this complex, so to speak, that indweller, which is Amrita, which is not subject to birth and death, which is not subject to changes of any kind, which is firm, which is sthira, and that, that knowledge which is leading to immortality is based on dharma. First dharma and then only moksha. That's what the whole thing is. So first one learns to abide in dharma, because without abiding in dharma, this knowledge is just an abstraction. Without abiding in a certain life of values that are shared amongst people. That's why people are outraged when there is injustice, because everybody knows that this is not supposed to be the certain way. That's why when those values are hit, people, there is outrage. And so I learned to respect the values not just as a mandate of God, but as a manifestation of Bhagavan within. And then that leads to assimilating this knowledge as a sthiramati, as one in whom the knowledge is abiding. And this abiding knowledge gives amritatvam. So dharmya and amrita. Dharmya is the way, and then amrita is the goal. So a very beautiful conclusion. Brahma Vidya, Yoga Shastra. So first Yoga Shastra, dharmya, and that which is dharma, which is the lifestyle that is unopposed to dharma. And then Brahma Vidya, which is amrita, That Amrita signifies Brahma Vidya, and this Dharma is Yoga Shastra. The Shastra, the lifestyle, is conducive to the vision. The vision is, I am Amrita. I am immortal. Yoginaha, you have to be a yogi to understand this. Karma yogi. Here, Paryupasate. Pari means all around, not just only for 1 hour every day, but all the time follows. Oh, now it is ding ding. Okay, what happened? Why is my phone, giving me a reminder? So for the next few minutes, I'm going to be a yogi. How many minutes? 7. 7 is a good number. A little more than 5. Because at 4.5, I start squirming. So I'm pushing myself here. So for the next 7 minutes, I'm a yogi. Rest of the time, bhogi. And then after bhoga, rogi. Comes roga. Roga means sickness. Bhoga means conspicuous consumption. The rest of the time I'm screaming. But for 7 minutes I'm very shanta. You can tell me anything. Samaloshta ashpa kanchana tulya ninda stutihi mauni santushto yena kenachit. I will not do anything for 7 minutes. And the rest of the time you have to deal with me. That's not what it is. That's why the word pari. Pari means all the time, everywhere, in all circumstances, not just when things are going well. Paryupasate, the one that sticks to this lifestyle and sticks to the teaching. And then in order to stick to it, each thing is building upon the other. In order to stick to it, what do you need? Shraddha. Yeah, without Shraddha, gone. Finished. Sunken ship. And you can visit it and say, what a lovely shipwreck. Yeah. Titanic, of titanic proportions. And, this is what it is. So otherwise, the ship is going to sink. If you want the ship not to sink, you have to have Shraddha. That is what is going to keep it afloat. Keep this lifestyle afloat is the confidence that I will get this knowledge. That there is the light at the end of the tunnel is me. And I will discover this light. That confidence is Shraddha. That trust is Shraddha. The trust in the Shastra, the trust in oneself, the trust in the Guru, the trust in the teaching. And that trust, the more it's developed, then, then only it delivers. Ativa. So if these elements are there, the lifestyle, the conformity to the lifestyle, the conformity to vision, and the vision of oneself as non-separate from everything else, the conformity to Bhagavan as a way to, gain this vision, the conformity to Shraddha as an important tool for gaining this vision. When all these three are there, such a person becomes very dear to me. Not that Bhagavan, some people are undear to Bhagavan, no. Meaning, person is as good as me. Yeah. So all the ingredients are given, and these three are very important. The unswerving commitment to Dharma, one, the unswerving commitment to Bhagavan, and the unswerving commitment to the vision, to gaining the vision. And in order to gain the vision, what do I need? Dharma and Shraddha become the feet of this vision. And when I'm equipped with that, becoming a jnani is just a breeze. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. So in the next class we go back to Bodhasara, and we had stopped here, verse 22, section 13. So we'll pick it up from 23 when